This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley. This is the story of a man named Stanley.
All right. Man, you know, the whole time I was like, forgetting I was on stream, on live. Don't know why. Sort of got into my own little world there. But hey, I'm Gruesome, back playing video games, and this time I'm playing the Stanley Parable, as you can see, Ultra Deluxe, which came out in 2022, developed by Crows. Now, the original that came out in 2013 was developed by Galactic Cafe. It released to Steam. I don't think it was on any consoles at the time. It might have been. I don't know. I think it was just Steam for a while. Anyway, yeah. Then all these years later. Now I did start to play it. I checked it out on. It was either Steam or. Well, yeah, it had to be Steam. It had to be. I can't remember when it was. Like 2017, 2019. And I got started on it. I never finished it. I was really early into it. So essentially this is going to be like a fresh new. I will just try to enjoy it, you know. I get into these types of games on occasion, you know, just for a change, and if they're well done, like, you know, let's see, what comes to mind? The only thing I can think of off the top of my head is Portal and Portal 2. Although with those, there was a lot more interaction, a lot more action as well, and but the story-driven, narrative-driven games that are off-center, you know what I mean? They're kind of, and they've got that humor, you know, some of it dark, but some of it over the top, but a lot of it just really witty and funny, you know. So that's, I mean, I enjoy that on occasion. So hopefully that's what this game brings. I seem to recall the little experience I do have that, you know, there was that humor. It's narrated by dude, I think is lives in Great Britain. What's his name? Let me see. It's Kevin something. I saw it. Man. Where did I see this? Oh, here it is. Yeah, British actor Kevin Brighting. So that's the voice we'll be hearing. It might be the only voice. I don't remember, but you know what? I've already adjusted the settings. I might have to adjust a couple of them again. But let's just get into it. Like I said, I'm Groove Sim, and this is the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe. I'm playing this on my PS5. And hopefully... Well, hey there, Ronan, how you doing? I just saw you in chat. Because I just brought chat up. I was on another screen. All right, so let's get into it.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
Oh, geez. Sensitivity a bit too high. Can I pick things up? I don't know about the field of view. The default's 72, the max is 90. It still seems a bit sensitive. Man, that's too slow. Okay. One of those deals. Okay. That'll work. He stepped out of his office. Still haven't done that. Is there an action button? Crosses that. Oh.
But Stanley simply couldn't handle the pressure. What if he had to make a decision? What if a crucial outcome fell under his responsibility? He had never been trained for that. No. This couldn't go any way except badly. The thing to do now, Stanley thought to himself, is to wait. Nothing will hurt me. Nothing will break me. In here I can be happy forever. I will be happy. Stanley waited. Hours passed, then days. Had years gone by? He no longer had the ability to tell. But the one thing he knew for sure, beyond any doubt, was that if he waited long enough, the answers would come. Eventually, someday, they would arrive. Soon, very soon now, this will end. He will be spoken to. He will be told what to do. Now it's just a little bit closer. Now it's even closer. Here it comes. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
No. That's fine, man. I mean, try that door. How about that one? No? Okay. Good. Let's check that out. Oh. Okay. Everybody's vanished. It'd be kind of sad and hilarious if at the end of the game Stanley finds out that everybody was invited to an office party but him. And that's where they were, just out on the beach. I don't know where this game takes place, you know, but now let's just roll with it out on the beach, in their swimwear, dancing, you know, to some live music and, you know, drinking, you know, drinks with little umbrellas in the drinks, you know, parasols. Waiting input. I just want to see if I can get this narrator going. No. Two doors.
Stanley came to a set of two open doors. He entered the door on his left.
He did. I think it was the door on the right, actually.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Mm-hmm. So far, that has got to be the nicest office, except not a great view.
Ah, yes, truly a room worth admiring. It had really been worth the detour after all, just to spend a few moments here in this immaculate, beautifully constructed room. Stanley simply stood here, drinking it all in.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it.
Actually, I'm not sitting, I'm standing. Here I stand looking at the
But
chairs.
eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left.
Oh? Oh, I see. Yeah. That door?
Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't 5 years ago.
Do not jump from the cargo lift while it is in motion. It will cause death. Penalty for misuse of cargo lift, $1,000. Penalty for jumping off the cargo lift, $5,000. Which you can't pay because you'll be dead. Okay? Let's go.
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here.
Nah, we're
I'm
fine.
not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time.
Right.
There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for her. This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting.
Her? I gotta double check something on the controls. So interact acts. Yeah, it's all we have. Crouch and interact. You know, it's funny they give you an option for simplified controls. I mean, it's about as simple as it gets. Okay, what's this? Uh-oh.
That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Okay. I'm trying. Hello? It won't let me. What's up?
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here.
Okay.
This is a very sad story about the death of a man named Stanley.
Good morning, employee 427. Press D-pad up on your controller.
Stanley is quite a boring fellow. He has a job that demands nothing of him, and every button that he pushes is a reminder of the inconsequential nature of his existence.
Yeah. Please press circle.
Look at him there, pushing buttons, doing exactly what he's told to
Yeah.
do. Now he's pushing a button. Now he's eating lunch. Now he's going home. Now he's coming back to work. One might even feel sorry for him, except that he's chosen this life.
Please press D-pad left. No. Okay.
But in his mind, he can go on fantastic adventures. From behind his desk, Stanley dreamed of wild expeditions into the unknown, fantastic discoveries of new lands. It was wonderful, and each day that he returned to work was a reminder that none of it would ever happen to him. And so he began to fantasize about his own job. First, he imagined that one day while at work, he stepped up from his desk to realize that all of his co-workers, his boss, everyone in the building had suddenly vanished off the face of the earth. The thought excited him terribly. So he went further. He imagined that he came to two open doors and that he could go through either. At last, choice. It barely even mattered what lay behind each door. The mere thought that his decisions would mean something was almost too wonderful to behold. As he wandered through this fantasy world, he began to fill it with many possible paths and destinations. Down one path lay an enormous round room with monitors and mind controls. And down another was a yellow line that weaved in many directions. And down another was a game with a baby. And he called it the Stanley Parable. It was such a wonderful fantasy, and so in his head he relived it again, and then again, and again, over and over, wishing beyond hope that it would never end, that he might always feel this free. Surely there's an answer down some new path, mustn't there be? Perhaps if he played just one more time. But there is no answer. How could there possibly be? In reality, all he's doing is pushing the same buttons he always has. Nothing has changed. The longer he spends here, the more invested he gets, the more he forgets which life is the real one. And I'm trying to tell him this, that in this world he can never be anything but an observer, that as long as he remains here, he's slowly killing himself. But he won't listen to me. He won't stop. Here, watch this. Stanley, the next time the screen asks you to push a button, do not do it. You see? Can he just not hear me? How can I tell him in a way that he'll understand that every second he remains here, he's electing to kill himself? How can I get him to see what I see? How can I make him look at himself? I suppose I can't, not in the way I want him to. But I don't make the rules. I simply play to my intended purpose, the same as Stanley. We're not so different, I suppose. I'll try once more to convey all this to him. I'm compelled to. I must. Perhaps, well, maybe this time he'll see. Maybe this time. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried again, and Stanley pushed a button. And I tried. All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
All right, here we go. This is exciting. Which door will I choose?
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left.
Yeah. Here it is.
Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there.
We're broke Wednesday. Office party. See, there was one. Stanley didn't know about it. Complete today's unfinished agenda. We're next day's agenda reflect. The future was yesterday, tomorrow is now. Get Chris out of the broom closet. The synergize papers. Hire someone to synergize papers. Move my desk. What are your dreams for the future? Tips for not getting fired. Talk less. Do not do unbelievably amazing work. And don't get fired. How to solve a dispute with a coworker. Let a ball up inside you. Take it out passive aggressively on other coworkers. Using slides to assure employees that everything is okay. Make sure your slide has a slick blue graphic. Everyone is unique, you most of all. Number of slides on the slide. Rate at which charts on the same slide depict the same information. Rate of increasing graphs per slide. Please, no more charts, please. I'm begging. The Boss Appreciation Minute on your Boss Appreciation Minute. Circle the top 20 things you love most about your boss. Fill out and triplicate in return. Solving interpersonal conflict. If you ever find yourself in a conflict with another diligent employee like yourself, what are your dreams? Okay, let's go. Synergize core value expenditures. Shift global market parade. Monetize free to play. Yes. No? Oh.
Stanley stepped into the broom closet, but there was nothing here, so he turned around and got back on track.
There's a broom and tools, see? Tape.
There was nothing here. No choice to make, no path to follow,
wire.
Just an empty broom closet. No reason to still be here.
It's not really empty, though, if you think about it, because Stanley's in here.
It was baffling that Stanley was still just sitting in the broom closet.
Isn't
He
there
wasn't even
something?
doing anything. At least if there was something to interact with, he'd be justified in some way. As it is, he's literally just standing there doing sweet FA. Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Upstairs. Executive bathroom. I've got the feeling money's for stealing, but not yours, of course. Say, that's a lovely purse. Okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Shocked, unraveled, Stanley wondered in disbelief who orchestrated this. What dark secret was being held from him? What he could not have known was that the keypad behind the boss's desk guarded the terrible truth that his boss had been keeping from him. And so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Stanley just sat around twiddling his thumbs. Trying to input anything on the device was useless, since he could never possibly know that the combination was 2845. $2845.
Yeah, I got it, man. I heard you the first time. $2845.
But it turns out that the panel's emergency override kicked in, and the door just opened all by itself, and Stanley got the hell along with the story. Well, whoop-de-doo.
Dude. Oh. Oh.
Descending deeper into the building, Stanley realized he felt a bit peculiar. It was a stirring of emotion in his chest, as though he felt more free to think for himself, to question the nature of his job. Why did he feel this now, when for years it had never occurred to him? This question would not go unanswered for long. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable, wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof, the heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions, happy or sad or content, walking, eating, working, all of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life. For he would dismantle the controls once and for all.
Would he? Wait a minute. Going up. Quite dark over here. Okay, there's a 5. I'm solving this mystery. Okay, there's a 3. 3. How about a 4? Can I get a 4? Can I get a 4? But it doesn't sound like they're active yet. Okay, where's a 4? It's a 5. Got that 3 right there. Nope. Four. Where's a 4? Where could that 4 be? Is there a 4 over here? Oh, there's a button up there. That might be the 4. And I'm blocked off from getting there. I can't quite tell if that says 4. I bet it does. Okay. Yeah. I think I got to do something. Maybe I have to do something out here.
And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was... Oh, Stanley, you didn't just activate the controls, did you? After they kept you enslaved all these years, you go and you try to take control of the machine for yourself. Is that what you wanted? Control? Oh, Stanley, I applaud your effort, I really do. But you need to understand, there's only so much that machine can do. You were supposed to let it go, turn the controls off, and leave. If you want to throw my story off track, you're going to have to do much better than that. I'm afraid you don't have nearly the power you think you do. For example, and I believe you'll find this pertinent, Stanley suddenly realized he had just initiated the network's emergency detonation system. In the event that this machine is activated without proper DNA identification, nuclear detonators are said to explode, eliminating the entire complex. How long until detonation then? Let's say, 2 minutes. Ah, now this is making things a little more fun, isn't it, Stanley?
Yeah.
It's your time to shine. You are
My
the star.
time.
It's your story now. Shape it to your heart's desires. Oh, this is much better than what I had in mind. What a shame we have so
dear
little
God.
time left to enjoy it. Mere
Where's
moments
the
until the
sprint?
bomb goes off. But
Sprint
what
button,
precious
please.
moments
Okay.
each one of them is.
Now the buttons are
More
active,
time to
so
talk
I
about
can
you,
get this
about
going. Watch.
me, where we're going.
Okay.
What all this means.
Check this
I
out. That's
barely know
open.
where to
Yes.
start.
Here we go.
What's that?
1,
You'd like to know where your co-workers are?
2.
A moment of solace before you're obliterated. All right, I'm in a good mood. You're gonna die anyway. I'll tell you exactly
3.
what happened to them. I erased them. I turned off the machine. I set you free. Of course, that was merely in this instance of the story. Sometimes when I tell it, I simply let you sit there in your office forever, pushing buttons endlessly and then dying alone. Other times, I let the office sink into the ground, swallowing everyone inside, or I let it burn to a crisp. I have to say this, though, this version of events has been rather amusing. Watching you try to make sense of everything and take back the control wrested away from you, it's quite rich. I almost hate to see it go.
Damn it.
But I'm sure whatever I come up with on the next go-around will be even better. My goodness, only 34 seconds left. But I'm enjoying this so much. You know what? To hell with it. I'm going to put some extra time on the clock. Why not? These are precious additional seconds, Stanley. Time doesn't grow on trees. Oh dear me, what's the matter, Stanley? Is it that you have no idea where you're going or what you're supposed to be doing right now?
Exactly.
Or did you just assume when you saw that timer that something in this room was capable of turning it off? I mean, look at you. Running from button to button, screen to screen, clicking on every little thing in this room. These numbered buttons, no, these colored ones. Or maybe this big red button, or this door. Everything, anything, something here will save me. Why would you think that, Stanley? That this video game can be beaten? Won? Solved? Do you have any idea what your purpose in this place is? Stanley, you're in for quite a disappointment. But here's a spoiler for you. That timer isn't a catalyst to keep the action moving along. It's just seconds ticking away to your death. You're only still playing instead of watching a cutscene because I want to watch you for every moment that you're powerless. To see you made humble. This is not a challenge. It's a tragedy. You wanted to control this world, that's fine. But I'm going to destroy it first, so you can't.
Oh.
Take a look at the clock, Stanley. That's 30 seconds you have left to struggle. 30 seconds until a big boom and then nothing. No ending here. Just you being blown to pieces. Will you cling desperately to your frail life? Or will you let it go peacefully? Another choice.
Here we go.
Make it
Goodbye,
count.
employee
Or dead.
427.
It's all the same to me. All a part of the joke. And believe me, I will be laughing at every second of your inevitable
Great.
life from the moment we fade in until the moment I say
Okay.
happily ever after.
Well, this has been the Stanley Parable. Boy, that was fun. Character was meant to die. Oh, wait a minute. No. Still here. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean?
What?
Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah. Perhaps.
No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Or 20.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it.
Not really.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah,
This room.
look at that.
What a beauty. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago.
Exactly. How the hell did he not get fired years ago?
Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. What? Really? I was in the middle of something. Do you have zero consideration for others? Are you that convinced that I want something bad to happen to you? Why, I don't know how to convince you of this, but I really do want to help you, to show you something beautiful. Look, let me prove it. Let me prove that I'm on your side. Give me a chance. Now listen carefully, this is important.
Okay.
Stanley walked through the red door.
The red door. Okay, gotcha. Not the blue door. The red door.
Aha, perhaps you misunderstood. Stanley walked through the red door.
The red door.
I still don't think we're communicating properly. Stanley walked through the red door.
Oh, this door.
Oh, thank God you are willing to listen to me. Do you see that I really have wanted you to be happy all this time? The problem is all these choices. The 2 of us always trying to get somewhere that isn't here. Running and running and running, just the way you're doing right now. Don't you see that it's killing us, Stanley? I wanted to stop.
Oh, dear.
We would both be so much happier if we just stopped. And I think I have a solution. Here, let me show you.
Okay. We're back at the office. Cubicle 427.
What are we looking for?
Oh.
Here. Yes.
Yes.
Oh, it's beautiful, isn't it? If we just stay right here, right in this moment with this place, Stanley, I think I feel happy. I actually feel happy. No, wait. Where are you going? Oh, no. Stay away from those stairs. If you hurt yourself, if you die, the game will reset. We'll lose all of this. Please, no, Stanley, let me stay here. Don't take this from me. Please, Stanley, think about what you're doing. No! Oh, thank God. You lived. You had me worried there for a moment. Now, can we please get back to the other room? No. No, what are you doing, Stanley? Please, I'm asking you not to take this away from me. I can't go back to what I was before. If you die, we'll both go back. Why are you doing this? Stanley, let's go back to the other room. Can you do that for me? My God, is this really how much you dislike my game? That you'll throw yourself from this platform over and over to be rid of it? You were literally willing to kill yourself to keep me from being happy. Am I reading the situation correctly? Or maybe you're just getting a kick out of it. I don't know anymore. I just wanted us to get along. But I guess that was too much to ask. It looks like you wanted to make a choice after all. Well, this one is yours. Is it over? It's going to restart, isn't it? I'm going back.
Message scheduled either by you or a person in your place of work. The purpose of this message is to warn you about the dangers of recorded messages. If at any time you believe you are listening to a recorded message, please terminate it immediately and cease all flow of information from the recorded message into your perceptual sphere. Thank you, and have a pleasant day.
So no narration, huh? $4.20.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. Yet there was not a single person here either. Feeling a wave of disbelief, Stanley decided to go up to his boss's office, hoping he might find an answer there. Oh no, no, not again. I won't be part of this. I'm not going to encourage you. I'm not going to say anything at all. I'm just going to be patient and wait for you to finish whatever it is you enjoy doing so much in this room. Please take your time.
Okay, thanks.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
No.
But Stanley just couldn't do it. He considered the possibility of facing his boss, admitting he had left his post during work hours. He might be fired for that. And in such a competitive economy, why had he taken that risk? All because he believed everyone had vanished? His boss would think he was crazy. And then something occurred to Stanley. Maybe, he thought to himself, maybe I am crazy. All of my co-workers blinking mysteriously out of existence in a single moment for no reason at all? None of it made any logical sense. And as Stanley pondered this, he began to make other strange observations. For example, why couldn't he see his feet when he looked down?
Exactly.
Why did doors close
I was
automatically
wondering
behind him
that.
wherever he went?
Uh-huh.
And for that matter, these
Right.
rooms were starting to look pretty familiar.
Yeah.
Were they simply repeating? No, Stanley said to himself, this is all too strange. This can't be real. And at last, he came to the conclusion that had been on the tip of his tongue. He just hadn't found the words for it. I'm dreaming, he yelled. This is all a dream. Oh, what a relief Stanley felt to have finally found an answer, an explanation. His co-workers weren't actually gone. He wasn't going to lose his job. He wasn't crazy after all. And he thought to himself, I suppose I'll wake up soon. I'll have to go back to my boring real-life job pushing buttons. I may as well enjoy this while I'm still lucid. So, he imagined himself flying and began to gently float above the ground. Then he imagined himself soaring through space on a magical starfield, and it too appeared. It was so much fun, and Stanley marveled that he had still not woken up. How was he remaining so lucid? And then perhaps the strangest question of them all entered Stanley's head. One he was amazed he hadn't asked himself sooner. Why is there a voice in my head dictating everything that I'm doing and thinking? Now the voice was describing itself being considered by Stanley, who found it particularly strange. I'm dreaming about a voice describing me, thinking about how it's describing my thoughts, he thought. And while he thought it all very odd and wondered if this voice spoke to all people in their dreams, the truth was that, of course, this was not a dream. How could it be? Was Stanley simply deceiving himself, believing that if he's asleep, he doesn't have to take responsibility for himself? Stanley is as awake right now as he's ever been in his life. Now, hearing the voice speak these words was quite a shock to Stanley. After all, he knew for certain, beyond a doubt, that this was in fact a dream. Did the voice not see him float and make the magical stars just a moment ago? How else would the voice explain all that? This voice was a part of himself too. Surely, if he could just... He would prove it. He would prove that he was in control, that this was a dream. So he closed his eyes gently, and he invited himself to wake up. He felt the cool weight of the blanket on his skin, the press of the mattress on his back, the fresh air of a world outside this one. Let me wake up, he thought to himself. I'm through with this dream. I wish it to be over. Let me go back to my job. Let me continue pushing the buttons. Please, it's all I want. I want my apartment, and my wife, and my job. All I want is my life exactly the way it's always been. My life is normal. I am normal. Everything will be fine. I am okay.
All right.
Stanley began screaming. Please, someone, wake me up. My name is Stanley. I have a boss. I have an office. I am real. Please, just someone tell me I am real. I must be real. I must be. Can anyone hear my voice? Who am I? Who am I? And everything went black. This is the story of a woman named Mariella. Mariella woke up on a day like any other. She arose, got dressed, gathered her belongings, and walked to her place of work. But on this particular day, her walk was interrupted by the body of a man who had stumbled through town talking and screaming to himself, and then collapsed dead on the sidewalk. And although she would soon turn to go call for an ambulance, For just a few brief moments, she considered the strange man. He was obviously crazy. This much she knew. Everyone knows what crazy people look like. And in that moment, she thought to herself how lucky she was to be normal. I am sane. I am in control of my mind. I know what is real and what isn't. It was comforting to think this, and in a certain way, seeing this man made her feel better. But then she remembered the meeting she had scheduled for that day, the very important people whose impressions of her would affect her career, and by extension, the rest of her life. She had no time for this, so it was only a moment that she stood there, staring down at the body. And then she turned and ran.
Good morning. Thank you for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation. We are confirming your shipment of 1,327 cardboard boxes to your place of work. Can you verify that this is correct? Understood. Your order will be canceled immediately. Thank you again for contacting the Future Happiness Foundation.
Please let one of these doors open.
Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment.
No.
When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors,
He entered the door on his left.
This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. The lounge was sublime, a work of art. What was it about this room that called so deeply and so personally to Stanley? Its grace? Its subtle charm? No. Stanley knew it was something deeper, something darker. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
Or he took a lift.
But Stanley didn't want to go back to the office. He wanted to
sub-level.
wander about and get even further off track. So now in order to get back, he needed to go, from here, it's, left.
Yes.
Oh, no, it's to the right, my mistake.
Oh. Okay.
No, not the right. Why
It
would I have
is.
ever said it was to the right?
It's
What
to the
was I
left.
thinking?
Come on.
It's clearly... Oh dear, would you hold on for a minute, please? Now, let's see. We went down right, left, down, left, right. Yep, okay, yes. I've got it now. This story is absolutely, definitely this way.
Okay. Right. Okay. Oh dear.
No. This isn't right at all. You're not supposed to be here yet. This is all a spoiler. Quick, Stanley, close your eyes.
No.
Okay. We just have to get back to, oh, who am I kidding? It's all rubbish now. The whole story completely unusable. How about, rather than waste my time trying to salvage this nonsense, we'll just restart the game from the beginning. And this time, suppose we don't wander so far off track, Okay, from the top.
Oh boy. Okay.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Okay. 420. No. Okay.
When Stanley... Wait, what? No, I restarted. I swear, I definitely restarted the game over, completely fresh. Everything should be... Or did something change? Stanley, did you change anything when we were back in that room with all the monitors? Did you move the story somewhere, or... Hold on. Why am I asking you? I'm the one who wrote the story. It was right here just a minute ago. I know for sure that it's here somewhere. Okay, then. It's an adventure. Come, Stanley. Let's find the story.
Awesome. Where could it be? Inner guilt. Everyone knows what you did. They're just holding back to let you torture yourself. This doesn't look right.
I'll say it. This is the worst adventure I've ever been on. I can promise you there definitely was a story here before. Do we need to restart the game again?
No.
Well, I find it unlikely that we'll ever progress by starting over and over again.
No.
But it's got to be better than this.
No.
Okay, let's give it a shot. Why not?
No. All right.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo.
Yeah. Okay. Well. Okay. 420. No. Okay.
Okay, yep, it's worse. I might be remembering this wrong. It's possible the story is back where we just came from.
Right.
Why don't we go back the other
Sure.
direction and see if we missed anything?
Oh. Yeah. Could be through there. Was that ladder there before?
Aha! I knew we'd miss something. The story. Here it comes. No, wait. Never mind. Not the story. Okay, let's head back the other way and retrace our steps. Now this... Well, I'll be honest, I don't recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I don't think so. I can't quite recall, but I believe my story took place in an office building. Is that correct? Do you remember, Stanley? Well, do you know what? Since I've completely forgotten what we were supposed to be doing, how about this? You win! Congratulations!
Yeah,
A lot
man.
of hard work, and it really paid off. So, good job. Oh, no.
iPhone.
No, I don't feel right about this at all. We both know you didn't put in any actual work for that win. Some people win fair and square, and this was not one of those situations. Okay, I'm getting weirded out by whatever this place is. I don't care what might happen this time. I have to restart.
Here we go again.
All right, I've got a solution. This time, to make sure we don't get lost, I've employed the help of the Stanley Parable Adventure Line. Just follow the line. How simple is that?
That's, yeah. That makes it really easy. You know, there's no way I can screw this up. I feel, aha, it opened. Yes. Yes, I definitely want to go back here. Oh, wait a minute. No? Okay.
You see? The line knows where the story is. It's over in this direction. Onward, Stanley, to destiny. Though, here's a thought. Wouldn't wherever we end up be our destination, even if there's no story there? Or to put it another way, is the story of no destination still a story? Simply by the act of moving forward, are we implying a journey such that a destination is inevitably conjured into being via the very manifestation of the nature of life itself? Okay, Stanley, I need to follow this train of thought for a minute. Just stick with me. Now, we can both agree that the nature of existence is in fact a byproduct of one's subjective experience of that existence, right? Okay, now if my experience of your existence rests inside of your subjective experience of this office, is this office in fact the skeleton of my own relative experiential mental subjective construct? Whoa. Hang on. That got a bit weird back there. Well, I'd like to apologize. Not sure where I was going with all that. You know what? I think what we need right now is a bit of music to lighten the mood. Wait, cut the music, go back and look at that fern. Stanley, this fern will be very important later in the story. Make sure you study it closely and remember it carefully. You won't want to miss anything. Wait, what? We're back at the office? No. Line, you do know we're looking for the Stanley Parable, right? The story? Is any of this ringing a bell? Oh, no, not again, Line. How could you have done this to us? And after we trusted you, after everything we've been through, you... Oh, I can't take this anymore. To hell with it. Restart.
The line was confused, and it could happen to anybody. You know?
You know what, Stanley? I say forget the adventure line. What's it ever done for us? We're intelligent people, right? Why can't we make up our own story? Something exciting, daring, mysterious. Ooh, this all sounds perfectly doable. Why don't we simply start wandering in, well, I don't know. How about this direction?
Okay.
Now, yes, this is exciting.
Isn't
Just
it?
me and Stanley forging a new path, a new story. Well, it
Just
could be anything.
just a
What do
hallway
you
that
want
goes
our story to
around
be?
and
Go wild.
circles
Use your
or
imagination.
a rectangle.
Whatever it might be, Stanley, I'm ready for it. Oh, no, not you again. Stanley, I'd also like to veto the line from having any role in our awesome new story. No lines or monitor rooms. Just don't acknowledge it, and we should be fine.
Seems to be going the same direction, you know.
Ah, a choice. We get to make a decision. From here, the
Yes.
story is in our control. How
Great.
important we mustn't squander the opportunity. In fact, I
Right.
believe I need a minute to think here. Just walk in circles for a minute.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that each door has to lead somewhere, which means that somewhere at the place where we're trying to go, there must be a reverse door that leads here. And that in
Right.
turn means that our destination corresponds with the counter-inverted reverse door's origin. So starting from the right, let us ask, will taking the right door lead us to where we're going? And since the answer is clearly yes, then by all accounts, the door on the right is the correct one. Another victory for logic. Come, Stanley, our destiny awaits.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, hold up, what's this?
You've been playing the confusion
confusion
ending
ending.
for
You're telling
17
me That's
hours.
what this is? It's all one
No, 17
giant
minutes.
ending? And we're supposed to restart the game, what, eight times? That's really
Just
how all this
restart.
goes? It's all determined? So now, according to the schedule, I restart again. Then what? Am I just supposed to forget?
Says
Well, what if I don't
restart.
want to forget? My mind goes blank simply because it's written here on this thing, wall. Well,
There's
who
no longer
consulted
an
me?
office, simply
Why don't I get to
black
decide?
space.
Why don't
Wander
I
in the
get a say
blackness,
in all of
find a
this? Is
bookstore,
it
get
really?
bored and leave.
No, it
Narrator
can't be.
restarts the game.
I don't
8th
want it to
restart.
be. I don't want the game to keep
Narrator is
restarting.
gone.
I don't want to forget what's going
After a
on.
long time,
I don't want to be
Stanley
trapped like
dies.
this. I won't restart the game. I won't do it. I won't do it. I won't do it.
Good.
And the timer stopped? Does that mean, did we do it? Did we break the cycle? The, whatever it is that made this schedule? How would we even know? Will someone come for us? Will something happen? So, okay. I guess now we just wait, you know. I suppose in some way that this is a kind of story, wouldn't you agree? I'm not quite sure if we're in the destination or the journey, though they're always saying that life is about the journey and not the destination. So I hope that's where we are right now. We'll find out, won't we? Eventually. Well, in the meantime, if you... All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way.
Oh, hey, look at this new content.
Oh, new content? What does that mean, new content?
Hello, and thank you for playing the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe.
Hey, it's just like
As you may know,
Half-Life.
the Stanley Parable was a video game released in 2013 on home computers.
Half-Life 2.
After receiving critical and commercial success, it was expanded upon in 2022 with the Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, a reimagining of the game for consoles and home
Wow,
computers.
yeah. I'm playing that.
The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe features exciting new content that broadens and expands the world of the Stanley Parable, delighting
Oh my.
audiences the world over. Please, step inside and see what thrilling new adventures await in the Stanley Parable
This is
Ultra
a-
Deluxe.
This is
Oh, well, this sounds
exciting.
delightful. I'm very excited to see the thrilling new Ultra Deluxe content.
Yes. I'm sure it will be awesome.
Okay, so far it's an elevator. Nothing special yet, but I'm sure it's just the beginning of a mesmerizing adventure.
Sure, sure. Does this thing move?
Is it broken? What's going on here? Should we be moving somewhere or... Oh, there we go. All right, finally, at long last, it's on to the new content. I've never been more ready. Let's do it.
It's really exciting. It truly is.
I have to say, initial impressions of Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, mostly tedious. It's as if, Oh, okay. Let's see the content. Give me the content, Stanley.
Oh. Okay. Very barren room.
All right. All right, let's
New
see.
content.
It's
The jump
the
circle.
jump circle?
Really? Get my money's worth. up in the game. For real.
Is that it? Surely that's not all the new content. There has to be something else, right? Goodness. Another elevator. Stanley, I have to say, initial impressions of this game are not positive. It's just elevators and jumping. Is this what passes for exciting new content? If this is new content, then I could just read you the whole dictionary. There's 20 hours of new content right there. Hell, I could count to 30 trillion. You could put that on the box. The Stanley Parable Ultra Deluxe, now with over 1,000 hours of new content. And if... Oh, wait.
It's better than Call of Duty.
Very good. Yes.
Come on.
I knew there had to be something else. Let's see it. I'm ready for whatever it is.
Thank you for enjoying the
That's
new
it?
content.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. You see, Stanley? This is what happens when greedy video game developers with no respect for their fan base rush a cheap expansion to market for no reason other than to make an easy dollar. And don't get me started on the level of craftsmanship that's gone into it. In fact, I'm looking right now at the game's trophies, and it's hard to believe one of them actually says, "Test trophy, please ignore." What quality assurance department signed off on this? I'm infuriated and I'm offended, and I intend to find these people on Twitter and hold them personally accountable. It's my fault, Stanley. I built up too much anticipation around the new content, I'm afraid. It could never have lived up to such expectations. If you're still with me, why don't we just reset the game and we'll try to get back to what the Stanley Parable is really about.
Yes.
No frills, no gimmicks, just you and me.
No detours, just
like always.
Follow the path, be
what do you say, friend?
Safe and sound. All right, here we go. Back in the old office, 427. Let's go. Wait a minute.
Stanley, come over here.
Okay.
In the vent. I want to show you something.
Sure. More loading.
Okay, you remember how cheap and unsatisfying the new Ultra Deluxe content turned out to be? Well, it got me thinking about the past and how much better the Stanley Parable used to be. So I made something special and tucked it away here where the game's developers won't find it. Just our little secret. Take a look.
Okay. Wait a minute. Outdoors?
I call it the Memory Zone. It's where I've been storing all my favorite memories so I can relive the peak experiences of my life whenever I want. Experiences like the launch of the Stanley Parable on PC.
This reminds me of Portal as well, when you finally exit. Or do you? Right? What's this? Another phone. In a picnic basket. Where are you going? Well, smarter than the average bear. With my picnic basket.
You see, Stanley, doesn't the Memory Zone remind you of how wonderful Stanley Parable was before it was sullied with a cheap PlayStation port? Remember back in October of 2013, when the game originally launched? Back then, video games had integrity. Back then, it all meant something. Oh, the waste.
2014 Independent Games Festival. Watch on YouTube. Good times. Hey, there are the two doors, left and right. We had some fun, didn't we? Choose them both. Not at the same time, but, you know. There's a $1 bill. Tough choices. Right.
Je suis dans la mémorisation, c'est sur la pluie de l'eau, et je n'attends plus que toi, mon amour.
And over here is where I keep reviews of the Stanley Parable. Like this stunning triumph of games journalism, 10 out of 10 from Destructoid.com. James Stephanie Sterling writes, and I quote, "Where so many games that aspire to be more than games end up less than any form of art, Stanley Parable strives and then succeeds to be every game ever created." Did you hear that, Stanley? Every game ever created. That's how grand and all-encompassing the original Stanley Parable was. It was literally every game ever created. It was Skyrim, it was Persona 3, it was all of them, and now it's nothing. It's no games at all. It isn't even the Stanley Parable anymore. It's just a husk now. A lifeless husk with an hour of new elevator content.
The tasteful, nostalgic. It was good. Memory zone maintenance. Person of the year, Stanley. Stanley, and what was her name? Abigail? Agatha? Does it really matter? No, it doesn't. There are the two doors again. We had some fun. He said, go through the left door. I went to the right. Good times, man. Wow, yeah. Yeah. We're right back where we started.
Here's another moving passage, this time from GameSpot.com.
Oh.
The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of choice in games and one that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. 9 out of 10. Don't you get it, Stanley? The game was perfect. It didn't need anything else. It didn't need new content. All they had to do was transport it in pristine condition along to the PlayStation. Boom, done. And they couldn't even do that. Couldn't resist the urge to go meddling with a beloved franchise.
I have always been someone who wants to go the wrong way. First in games. When I sense that a game is trying to usher me down a particular path, to get me to run from left to right, or maybe to charge straight ahead, I need to satisfy my instinct to go against the grain, to explore, to see what the designers have put back in the other way, or have put back the other way. Sometimes I find a one-up or a collectible stashed away to reward me for my intrepid behavior. At other times, my explorations are rewarded only by the crushing disappointment of running up against an invisible wall. Whatever I find or don't find, my action is a manifestation of my desire to exert some independence, to make my own choices within a system that severely limits my options and encourages certain specific behaviors. The Stanley Parable feels alive in its responsiveness to your choices and its desire to subvert your expectations and keep you on your toes. I think of the Stanley Parable as a sort of video game analog for Charlie Kaufman and Spike Jonze's brilliant film adaptation, which gently mocked the ways in which so many films manipulate audiences with formulaic plot twists and situations in which characters learn huge life lessons while simultaneously moving me with this formulaic plot twists and situations in which characters learned huge life lessons. The Stanley Parable is both a richly stimulating commentary on the nature of voice and choice in games, and in other systems too, like our workplaces and our families, and a game that offers some of the most enjoyable, surprising, and rewarding choices I've ever been confronted with in a game. Going the wrong way has never felt so right. 9 out of 10. Carolyn Pettit. Yes. Okay. Where are we going now? Back?
These were simpler times, Stanley. But I wouldn't give to go back, to have it all over again. Wait, hang on. I don't recall this part of the memory zone before. What's this? What's down here?
Memory zone maintenance. is what it is.
Oh no, oh God, no, Stanley. It's a collection of reviews from Pressurized Gas, the extremely popular online storefront for computer games.
Never heard of
I
them,
haven't looked
sorry.
at these in years. I can't even imagine what's been collecting down here. Surely these reviews were glowing as well, weren't they?
Really?
Honestly, I could not be bothered to play this game to full completion. The narrator is obnoxious and unfunny, with his humor and dialogue proving to be more irritating than entertaining. Unfunny! I'm not trying to be funny. I'm trying to make a serious work of art. I suppose I could write up a handful of gags to insert into the Stanley Parable, but the game is already such a densely layered web of profound philosophical insights that I can't even imagine where I'd have the room to stick them.
Well, I think it's just nice to get out of the office. It's quite a relief, you know.
Okay, let's see what this one says. While the idea for the game is good, for someone who prefers non-linear games, this preachiness gets annoying fast. Preachy? Stanley? I'm not preachy, am I? You can tell me if I'm preachy. Honestly, you can. Oh, goodness.
Noodle
It's actually quite
shop.
shocking for me. I always, well, to be honest, I had always thought of the game's dialogue as being rather terse to begin with. You can't know how much fluff I cut from the game to get it to feel as light and airy as it... Well, I always thought it did, but maybe it wasn't. Oh dear, what an awful memory to have to hold on to. These black marks on my otherwise unimpeachable track record. I feel like a failure, like I let these people down. Perhaps the Stanley Parable isn't quite as sterling as I always remembered.
Or is it Nuddle Shelf? Nuddle Shaft. Anyway, Noodle Shaft, Nuddle Shaft, or Nuddle Shaft, I mean, whatever the case. Oh.
What's this one got to say?
This could be the end.
You constantly have to stop doing anything so the narrator can catch up with his long-winded explanations of what's happening. I wish there was a skip button. A skip button? Well, yes. Yes, I think we can do that. If I'm truly too preachy, then maybe letting you skip ahead for just a moment, surely it couldn't hurt. Not if it means we can strike these negative reviews from the record. Only positive reviews of the Stanley Parable. That's my motto today, and it's always been my motto. I'd do anything for the customer, Stanley. Yes, a skip button we shall have.
Okay.
And here it is. Go ahead and give it a shot. I'll pop you forward in time so that the... Oh, you're back, you see. You were only frozen in time for a few minutes, but it was plenty of time for me to deliver a long, rambling monologue full of unnecessary verbal flourishes and lengthy ruminations on the nature of choice in video games. Of Well, there, sport. You really did catch me rambling on a bit, didn't you? But that's the power of the button. The minute I start to go off on a thoughtless display of self-absorption, it's right. Okay, welcome back, Stanley. Now, I should say that the amount of time the button has been skipping through is becoming longer and longer. That last one was, well, I want to say maybe 30, 45 minutes. Stanley, please don't push the button again. It's been 12 hours. You've just been frozen there. I don't know why the skips are getting longer, but they're... Oh, Stanley, you're back. You're back. Oh, my goodness. I have someone to talk
Could
to
die
again.
from like hunger.
Stanley, I think it's been a week. Or 2 weeks. I've been sitting here all that time. Just sit. Oh, hello. It's you. You're here again. Welcome. I have had time to think about you and about us and about everything we've been through. I've had so much time. I stopped keeping track after a year. Have you ever sat down in one place and not moved for one entire year? Let me describe it for you. To begin with,
Oh, no voice. Go look around. Clock stopped at 12:55. AM, PM, who knows?
but they didn't understand the game was never meant to be funny. It was meant to have a point. It was meant to speak to the human condition. But where are the jokes? Where are the jokes? They bemoaned, they screamed, they gnashed their teeth and said, entertain us. It wasn't enough. They had to leave a pathetic little thumbs-down review and make all of their pitiful demands. But then, he's talking too much, they said. First, he didn't entertain us, now he won't shut up. It's the inconsistency, it's the lack of...
Anything new back here? No.
The end is never the end, 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 is never the end.
I hear some water.
Is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never the end, is never
Yeah.
the end, is never
Oh,
the end, is never the
pipes
end,
are
is
leaking.
never the end, is 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 never...
There'll be a flood in here. Oh boy. Well, that's certainly different, isn't it? I'd say we're making progress. To what? I don't know. Hey, there's that sun. Ah, life has returned, as it always does. In some form or another. Now darkness. There's some sort of creature can be heard outside, howling. Oh. Aha. Button no longer works. Well, well. We're in the desert. Yes. Should I head towards the sun or away from it? And back in the office.
All of his co-workers were... Wait, no. This isn't the right office, is it? Is this Stanley's office? New content. Oh, good. You noticed my sign. Yes, I have something very exciting to show you.
Just a reminder, this is free on PlayStation Plus, which is how I got it. Playing it on my PlayStation 5. To pay a penny for it. Just so you know.
You see, Stanley, I've been reflecting on the Stanley Parable and about how roundly disappointing this Ultra Deluxe version has turned out to be. The original Stanley Parable was a landmark, and any new content for it should live up to that legacy. So forget this Ultra Deluxe nonsense. I say we take it one step even further. Which is why I'm very proud to announce for the first time ever, the Stanley Parable 2. Yes, you see, isn't this far superior to a measly port with a few minor additions? Think of all the new territory we'll cover with a fully fledged sequel. An entirely new experience, built from the ground up. Why, there are so many possibilities. It could go in so many different directions. This is what fans have truly been asking for. Calling it the Stanley Parable 2 is just so much catchier than Ultra Deluxe, don't you think? Ultra Deluxe? What does it even mean? But the Stanley Parable 2, now that's an artistic statement right there. It's future-oriented. It screams progress and innovation and long-term franchising potential. Now, to be clear, I haven't quite nailed down what exactly the Stanley Parable 2 is going to be, but let's take a look at some of the features I've been developing for it. I figure that if I can loosely organize a handful of interesting concepts, that surely the game will sort of naturally spring up around them. It'll all work itself out. Game development is much more of a fuzzy magic than anything scientific or logical, really. here we are. Go on, try out some of the new features. For the Stanley Parable 2, I asked myself, what do players really want? And of course, the first and most obvious answer is that they want to be individually recognized and validated as people. So with that in mind, my first addition to the game is this button which speaks the name of the person playing the game. Isn't that wonderful?
Jim.
Sorry, I should have clarified. Right now, the button only says the name Jim. But of course, in the final game, this button will say your name, whatever name that is. Here, let's have you role-play as Jim to really simulate the full experience of this feature. Just play along. I promise you'll love it. Okay, here we go. Let's take a deep breath, clear your mind, forget whoever you are, and simply become a person named Jim.
Jim.
Whoa, hold on. I wasn't finished setting up the backstory. If you don't properly roleplay as Jim, then you'll never understand the impact of this button. Otherwise, it's just a stupid button that says somebody else's name.
You're right. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, we're doing it again, and this time let me finish first.
Yeah, right.
Now, allow yourself to become Jim. Imagine yourself driving to work as Jim, playing frisbee on the weekends as Jim, staying up all night for a popcorn and horror movie sleepover as Jim.
Yeah.
Developing a crippling...
Jim.
All right, fine, whatever. It's just a meaningless button that says Jim. Are you happy now? Get out of here. I'm done with this button. Why don't you go humiliate me in front of a different feature that I worked very hard on?
Okay. Jim.
Maybe I'll only let people named Jim play the Stanley Parable 2. They would appreciate what I've created here.
Yeah. This.
An epilogue would be fun, wouldn't it, Stanley? Yes, it will go at the end of the, well, we'll figure that out later.
Infinite hole, free trophy. Oh. Yeah, look at that. Get yours right now. Pull the lever. Receive your new trophy. No more steps. It just works. Just like Todd.
Now, here's something special. You remember that broken
Todd
test
Howard.
trophy that got left in the game on accident?
It just
Well,
works.
I'm developing a technology to simply give you the trophy. Yes.
Right.
You see, you'll come to this lever, and when you pull it, the trophy will be given to you. It's a... Okay, perhaps I should have clarified. This is technology that will exist. Right now, the trophy is still fully broken. I'm not a wizard, Stanley, but I
Okay,
guarantee it
yeah.
will be fixed in the sequel to at last satisfy the hordes of ravenous fans all over the world who have been
Right.
uproariously demanding this feature. Gamers, we hear you, and I promise it will happen.
Okay, well, I guess no trophy, but I'm going to pull that again. Okay. Yeah, it doesn't work. Okay, so far we one of the features says the name of the player in the game, but only says Jim at the moment. A free trophy machine
What
that
other
doesn't
exhibits haven't
work.
we seen yet?
I mean, seriously. Oh, there's that jump circle, and I already used it, you know, so used it up. Infinite hole, yeah, we got it. We got to check that out. Settings world champion. What the hell, man? It's locked. Thought we were going to. The infinite hole. Is it? Or no, that's the epilogue. What? Okay. See? Infinite hole. Okay, yeah. It's over here. I misread that. Okay. No screenshots.
Okay, I'll be honest, I haven't yet decided on this one. I think that in the new version, the office could use a bit of decoration, like balloons. But I'm undecided on Get Well Someday and Happy 12th Birthday. Which would you go with?
Happy 12th birthday, stepniece? Let's go with that one.
You know, sometimes when you solicit another person's opinion, it makes you realize that you knew which one you actually really wanted all along. Happy 12th birthday, stepniece, it is. Or actually, maybe I should have gone with... No. Nope, I've made my decision. We're moving on.
Exactly. You should just, hey, stick with it. All right. Okay, I was heading to the infinity hole. Or infinite hole. The infinite hole. There we go. I said infinite. The infinite hole. It just keeps going. Going.
Stanley, here's an idea that I'm truly fond of. It's never been done before in a video game. This is, in fact, a hole that you can fall down forever. That's right.
Actually, it's been
Infinite
done.
falling. You can fall until the end of time, if you like.
Right.
A stunning leap forward for video games as a medium.
Okay, let's go.
You see, isn't it wonderful? One of my more ingenious concoctions, if I do say so. Now then, since you've gotten to see the infinite hole, you can press the teleport button to pop back up to the top, and we can continue onward. Now, I don't mean to be a bummer, but I do recommend you use the teleport button to go back to the top. Maybe do it on the sooner rather than later spectrum of things. Okay, great. Now, I'm very excited to show you even more of my ideas for the sequel.
Okay. It's very exciting. Infinite holes, everything, you know. It's next gen. That's what that is. Okay.
Collectibles. Now it's a real video game. In the Stanley Parable 2, you'll run around gathering up these miniature Stanley figurines. And what's truly innovative is that there will be no reward for collecting all of them. I don't want to stifle the intrinsic joy of watching a number go up. You simply collect all of them, and then you move the hell on with your unremarkable life.
I just need 5 more.
God, it really is the worst when you collect everything in a video game and then they give you a big fancy reward for it. Absolutely tragic.
Jump circle for each trophy. The button says his name. Merch. Settings world champion. Oh, I haven't been there yet. Okay. Hashtags down there. Stanley Parable. Reassurance bucket. Yeah, I haven't been there yet. Epilogue, I've been there. Collectible, oh, okay. Just 2. There we go. Reassurance bucket.
A common complaint of the Stanley Parable was that it was confusing and paradoxical, that it engendered a chaotic sense of reckless despair in those who played it. Well, I'm happy to say that after much consideration, I've engineered a clever solution to this fundamental problem with the game.
Okay.
It's the Stanley Parable Reassurance Bucket. You see, Stanley, anytime you're holding the bucket, a sense of calm and ease will fill your mind and your heart.
There's no bucket.
It's true. As long as you hold on to the bucket, the many disorienting contradictions of the Stanley Parable will feel perfectly normal and perhaps even comforting. You may even come to long for the gentle embrace of jarring cognitive dissonance while the bucket is in your arms. And to be honest, it's a much more convenient solution for me than actually redesigning the game to be less uncomfortable. Can you imagine what a pain in the ass that would be? Yes, the bucket is the perfect solution. Come on, give it a try.
Okay.
Can you feel it? The glow of comfort, even in the face of crushing despair, must already be sweeping through your body. And in fact, can I say that I do believe the bucket lends you an air of charisma as well? I think that just holding it has made you the slightest bit more attractive as a person. The benefits of the bucket seem to go on and on, don't they? All this and more awaits you in the Stanley Parable 2.
Can't wait. It's going to be awesome. Okay, I'm going to pay another visit to the Infinite
Does anyone give out awards for most enjoyable bucket in a video game? That really should be an award if it isn't already.
Yeah. Most enjoyable bucket, right. I believe it was this way, right? Yeah. Yeah. But can I actually drop it? No? Okay.
Okay, and I guess we're back in the hole now. Did
Yeah.
you really need to see it again? I don't know what else there is to say, Stanley. It's an infinite hole.
I'm
It's
just trying to
exactly
get
what
rid
you're
of the
doing
bucket,
right now,
man.
but forever. There really are so many other fascinating exhibits that I've prepared for you. I really spent quite a lot of time on all this, and I would very much like to show you some more of them. How about we go ahead and press that teleport button again so we can get back to what's really important about... Oh, goodness. Well, this is rather embarrassing, Stanley. I'll be honest with you. I truly did not believe that anyone would actually stay in the hole long enough to hit the bottom. Yes, I know, I told you the hole was infinite, but come on. Who actually wants to fall forever? The hole was plenty deep. It was more than deep enough, in my opinion. Maybe it's you who likes falling too much. Maybe you're the problem. Look, things got a little heated there. I think we both said some things we didn't mean. Why don't we just put all this behind us and agree to just call the hole mostly infinite? If that works for you, then go ahead and press the teleport button to warp up to the top of the hole and we can move on. I'll just be up here when you're ready.
Yeah, here I have this bucket. Okay. Can't get rid of it. Stupid bucket. This complex is huge. All right, we got the bucket. And what else do I need to do? There was one more thing. Oh yeah, the settings world champ. And oh, I see. Some circle. Settings world champ. Oh no, yeah, the door was closed. That's right. Okay. I guess that's it. I don't know. That's new. No, it isn't. Is it? Oh, epilogue. Yeah, I've been there, done that. Okay. Ray traced. More of the same, but in a good way. Says your name as long as your name is Jim. Reassurance bucket. Reassurance bucket is Stanley's new best friend. I'm just gonna leave. Yeah. What do you think of that? I've seen and done everything. And I have my
All right.
bucket.
Have you seen everything you wanted to?
Yeah.
Ready to move on now?
Uh-huh. I would have preferred some gameplay, footage, but hey, whatever.
So, Stanley, what do you think? Do you like all of the new features? Yes,
No.
I know it's not exactly clear yet how exactly these features will come together as one single coherent video game, but I can feel it in my soul. It's going to work. There's definitely a good game in there somewhere. Say,
No.
let's do an experiment. I'll arrange these new features together, and we'll see whether or not it coheres into a meaningful gameplay experience.
Okay.
Okay. Are you ready? Here it is.
Sure.
I give you the Stanley Parable 2. I mean, there's potential here, right? It's sort of... Okay, never mind. Hold on. Let me do a different arrangement. Okay, yes, this is much better. I feel good about this. Here we go. Version 2.
Okay. Oh,
Who am I kidding, Stanley? This isn't a coherent video game at all. It's a lot of gags. And I do very much enjoy creating gags, but they don't add up to anything. I wanted more than anything to create a sequel that would capture all the magic of the first game. I wanted fans to love it. No matter how good these gags are, they won't stand on their own. They would need the structure and the gameplay of the original.
right.
Wait, maybe that's it. I can take the original Stanley Parable and simply,
Okay.
well, insert a few of my new features into it. Tastefully, of course. With respect.
Ooh.
With care for the vision and integrity of the original game. Would it possibly work? I
Could.
suppose it could. But it would need a really, really tremendous title screen. A title screen that says with bold and uncompromising conviction, "This is the Stanley Parable 2. Let me
Or
see if I
some
can whip
such.
something up. All right, perfect. Go ahead. Take a look.
Here we go. Yes. Oh my. Look at this. Look at this title screen. This is the way a title screen should look and, yes, feel. And smell. And, I dare say, taste. This is the Stanley Parable to begin.
This is the story of a man named Stanley. Stanley worked for a company in a big building where he was employee number 427. Employee number 427's job was simple. He sat at his desk in room 427 and he pushed buttons on a keyboard. Orders came to him through a monitor on his desk, telling him what buttons to push, how long to push them, and in what order. This is what employee 427 did every day of every month of every year. And although others might have considered it soul-rending, Stanley relished every moment that the orders came in, as though he had been made exactly for this job. And Stanley was happy. And then one day, something very peculiar happened. Something that would forever change Stanley. Something he would never quite forget. He had been at his desk for nearly an hour when he realized that not one single order had arrived on the monitor for him to follow. No one had showed up to give him instructions, call a meeting, or even say hi. Never in all his years at the company had this happened, this complete isolation. Something was very clearly wrong. Shocked, frozen solid, Stanley found himself unable to move for the longest time. But as he came to his wits and regained his senses, he got up from his desk and stepped out of his office.
And this time, I'm going to do exactly as the narrator instructs me to.
All of his
No
co-workers were
deviation.
gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had
Yes,
simply missed a
yes.
memo.
Yeah, we don't need to try any more doors. Why? Why deviate, even in the slightest? Look at all the nice balloons he added, you know. Great
Stanley felt the
idea.
bucket calling
Great
to
idea.
him, begging him to pick it up. Why was he not doing it?
Huh? Bucket. Oh, that bucket? Oh, God. Okay,
Stanley
fine.
picked up the bucket. Stanley clutched the bucket tightly to his chest and entered the door on his left.
Of course. I had to try the doors because that seems very organic, you know. You know, it's something a person would naturally want to do if they're searching for people who has inexplicably vanished from their office building.
Still no one was here. Stanley needed the bucket's warmth and comfort now more than ever.
Oh,
Perhaps
God,
his
yes.
boss's office was where he'd find answers.
Yes, the boss's office. That's where we need to go. I won't even try the closet door. Okay, I'll just open it. Okay, I'll just step in, because...
Oh, Stanley, can you feel it? The broom closet. It wants the bucket. You can feel that, can't you? The aura of jealousy, it's as clear as day. This broom closet believes it deserves the bucket.
Yes.
I can really feel it now. It's a bucket. It belongs in a broom closet. That's what the broom closet is trying to say here. It's supposed to go with the other cleaning supplies. Good for you, Stanley. Don't give in. Don't hand over the bucket. I know how hard it must be, given the pressure that the broom closet is putting on your shoulders right now, but you have to be strong. This is your bucket. This is your companion and lifelong friend. You can't hand it over. Oh, no. We're getting into name-calling now, it seems. Is this how low the broom closet has sunk, that it has to resort to this stream of petty insults simply in order to get you to hand over the bucket? Stanley, I never liked this broom closet for a variety of reasons, but even this is worse than I had imagined. And wait, now the broom closet has the gall to imply that you and the bucket are not truly deep and lasting friends? That your relationship is purely superficial and convenient? That your life is so banal and meaningless that you'd feel the same sort of kinship towards any inanimate object which happened to lay in your path in an even partially enticing manner? Well, I'd never. Go on, Stanley. Lay into it. Really tell the broom closet off for its demeaning comments. Expand on the wide variety of experiences you and the bucket have shared together. Go through each of them point by point. Share your journal entries detailing the rich emotional landscape of your feelings for the bucket as they have changed and evolved over the years. Let him have it.
Oh, man. I'm willing to give up the bucket, you know.
Okay,
Anyway.
I've got you something which I think will help settle this debate once and for all. Coming to a staircase, Stanley and the bucket walked upstairs to the boss's office.
Okay. I should have waited. He has something for me. No, he doesn't. Aye. Oh. Okay. Whoop. Here we are.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. Crushed by the weight of this revelation, Stanley may have broken down into an emotional dumpster fire if not for the soothing presence of the bucket. Even now, in his darkest of hours, did the bucket's warmth and guiding light pierce the dark clouds of confusion and chaos. It would be with him always. The bucket would, and he knew it. The two of them were inseparable. At this point, Stanley was so absorbed in the tender spiritual connection he shared with the bucket that he didn't notice the keypad behind the boss's desk. Nor in his bliss of simply being near the bucket did he have any notion that the pin number for the keypad was 2845. But Stanley guessed the correct code by sheer luck. Was it that the bucket knew all along? Was the bucket guiding him? Yes, this is certainly the most logical explanation.
Ah.
You found one of them. One of the miniature Stanley figurines. Remember, no reward for collecting all of these, only the intrinsic pleasure of a job well done. You can't buy that sort of happiness, Stanley. God knows I've tried. So, I implore you to savor each and every moment you come across one of these beautiful figurines.
It's a major accomplishment. Very fulfilling, you know.
The elevator raced downward, plummeting towards an unknown fate. It would be all Stanley could do to keep himself together, if not for the bucket. Soothing him, comforting him, reassuring that in this darkest moment of uncertainty, he would be all right. The bucket is here for you, Stanley. Everything will be fine. Stanley and the bucket walked straight ahead through the large door that read, Mind Control Facility.
No.
Although this passageway had the word escape written on it, the truth was that at the end of this hall, Stanley and the bucket would both meet a violent death. The door behind them was not shut. Stanley and the bucket still had every opportunity to turn around and get back on track. At this point, Stanley and the bucket were knowingly walking forward into a very painful death for each of them.
This is a never-ending... Oh, okay. Yes. And back at the office, no? Here we go. It's okay, bucket. We're gonna get out of here. Oh, shit.
As the machine whirred into motion and Stanley and the bucket inched closer to their demise, Stanley reflected on how meaningless the bucket's warmth and comfort had turned out to be. To be sure, it puts the mind and the soul at ease to embrace the bucket, but what use is a sense of ease when you're about to be crushed to death? This is what Stanley thought to himself, and he sort of kicked himself for wasting so much time carrying a bucket everywhere. Farewell, Stanley.
Yeah. See ya. It's been nice.
Farewell, Stanley, cried the narrator, as Stanley and the bucket were led helplessly into the enormous metal jaws. In a single visceral instant, the bucket's life came to an end, as it was crushed violently to death.
Oh.
It was a shame, the death of such a magnificent bucket. It's true that all buckets are radiant in their own way, but this one stood above the rest. It was a glorious bucket to behold.
The bucket welcomes you to the grand exhibit. You're standing at the precipice of knowledge. Much like a bucket itself, the human mind is frequently empty within, a cavernous void, but through use of the exhibit in front of you, the mind becomes full and enriched and substantiated. Knowledge of the bucket and its history is the only true knowledge we really have. Will you take what you learn here out with you into the world? Will you accept with an open mind what may be challenging about the information in this exhibit? Will you change the lives of yourself and your loved ones as a result of this exhibit? Or will you turn a blind eye and continue to live as you were in ignorance and darkness? Man, that's deep.
Can you see how arrogant it was for Stanley to take a bucket like this and to claim it for his own? Can you see the hubris that blinded him? Can you see that the bucket is far more noble than Stanley will ever be in his short life?
Yes. Birth of a bucket. A bucket with two handles. Such a design has never been created in real life, having been deemed too dangerous and recklessly experimental. Every year, dozens are put to death just for attempting it. And of course, this is a portrait or large blown-up photo, actually, of millions of buckets. And of course, this is the Inferno bucket, a replica of the Inferno bucket, which in the medieval era was so powerfully alluring that it drove dozens of nations to war. Though he has died, and yet in spite of it all, the simple fact remains, no one can control a bucket. No, the bucket controls you. Which way to go, left or right? I like my choice. See, they have a bucket. Even the deer is curious about the bucket. Why am I talking about a bucket? Because that's what's happening.
No man can own a bucket, and certainly not a bucket as dazzling to behold as this one. It is man who should kneel before the bucket.
Oh, I see. This piece symbolizes the necessary relationship between bucket and humanity. However clear our grasp of the bucket may be, there is yet more that is always out of reach. This distance inevitably is for our own good.
But there is something we can do. Something we can do together, you and I, that will right this terrible wrong. Let Stanley die. Let him be crushed by the machine. Don't reset the game. Don't give him another opportunity to run off with another beautiful bucket. We can save the world's buckets from their treatment as tools and implements if only we let Stanley die together. The bucket shall take its place as ruler, as leader, as commander of a new world, a new vision.
All of his co-workers were gone. What could it mean? Stanley decided to go to the meeting room. Perhaps he had simply missed a memo. No matter how hard Stanley looked, he couldn't find a trace of his co-workers. Stanley went around touching every little thing in the office, but it didn't make a single difference, nor did it advance the story in any way. Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Standing now in this incredible room, Stanley for the first time understood true happiness. Then the feeling went away, and he felt sad again. Then it came back, and lingered for a minute or two. Now it's only half there, just a kind of, tingle. Yes, really, really worth it being here in the room. A room so utterly captivating that even though all your co-workers have mysteriously vanished, here you sit looking at these chairs and some paintings. Really worth it. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. And so he detoured through the maintenance section, walked straight ahead to the opposite door, and got back on track.
We need more planks. Produce 1 plank to allow ease of access past fence. Construct bridge to allow collection of shiny float. Retrieve Chris's remains from warehouse floor. Construct structurally sound bridge. Those are all good plans. A large room, lots of boxes. A private but smelly place for an important person. There must be a point to this. Oh, do we see a trophy? We have to collect all 6. Okay. Thank you. Good luck. Maybe we are the collectibles. How we can find them. Small floating objects have appeared across the office. We have to synergize our resources to ensure their retrieval. There are many questions. Okay, you tell you spotted one. What makes them float in the air? Who took these pictures of them? Piglies are hard to find. Follow clues provided by employee 416. We can do it. There will be a reward for finding them all. Yes. Yes. Yeah? Okay. Won't let me back in the broom closet.
Coming to a staircase, Stanley walked upstairs to his boss's office.
Another miniature Stanley figurine. This, you know, there really must be a snappier name for these things. What about mini-stands? Stanley figs? Or what about Stanlerines? Yes, I think I like that. Another Stanlerine under your belt.
Money in the morning, money in the evening, money for breakfast, money crisp. Oh. This was not open before. Interesting. Yeah, let's do it. Are we there yet? This is a long elevator ride. What the? Business strategy. Give us money or we shoot the panda bear, I guess. Yeah, okay, well, I went up. Let's go down. There we go. Yeah, okay.
Stepping into his manager's office, Stanley was once again stunned to discover not an indication of any human life. What could it mean? Stanley wondered aloud to nobody. He began wildly tearing through papers on the boss's desk, pulling books off the shelf, looking behind paintings, desperate for clues to his situation. But his attention was caught by a keypad behind the boss's desk. What could its purpose be? In fact, this keypad guarded the terrible secret that lay buried below his feet, and so the boss had assigned it an extra secret PIN number, 2845. But of course, Stanley couldn't possibly have known this. Yet incredibly, by simply pushing random buttons on the keypad, Stanley happened to input the correct code by sheer luck. Amazing! He stepped into the newly opened passageway. Stanley walked straight ahead through the large door that read Mind Control Facility. The lights rose on an enormous room packed with television screens. What horrible secret did this place hold? Stanley thought to himself. Did he have the strength to find out? Now the monitors jumped to life, their true nature revealed. Each bore the number of an employee in the building, Stanley's co-workers. The lives of so many individuals reduced to images on a screen, and Stanley, one of them, eternally monitored in this place where freedom meant nothing. This mind control facility, it was too horrible to believe. It couldn't be true. Had Stanley really been under someone's control all this time? Was this the only reason he was happy with his boring job? That his emotions had been manipulated to accept it blindly? No, he refused to believe it. He couldn't accept it. His own life in someone else's control? Never! It was unthinkable. Wasn't it? Was it even possible? Had he truly spent his entire life utterly blind to the world? But here was the proof. The heart of the operation. Controls labeled with emotions. Happy, or sad, or content. Walking, eating, working. All of it monitored and commanded from this very place. And as the cold reality of his past began to sink in, Stanley decided that this machinery would never again exert its terrible power over another human life, for he would dismantle the controls once and for all. And when at last he found the source of the room's power, he knew it was his duty, his obligation, to put an end to this horrible place and to everything it stood for. Blackness and a rising chill of uncertainty. Was it over? Yes! He had won! He had defeated the machine, unshackled himself from someone else's command. Freedom was mere moments away. And yet, even as the immense door slowly opened, Stanley reflected on how many puzzles still lay unsolved. Where had his co-workers gone? How had he been freed from the machine's grasp? What other mysteries did this strange building hold? But as sunlight streamed into the chamber, He realized none of this mattered to him, for it was not knowledge or even power that he had been seeking, but happiness. Perhaps his goal had not been to understand, but to let go. No longer would anyone tell him where to go, what to do, or how to feel. Whatever life he lives, it will be his. And that was all he needed to know. It was perhaps the only thing worth knowing. Stanley stepped through the open door. Stanley felt the cool breeze upon his skin, the feeling of liberation, the immense possibility of the new path before him. This was exactly the way, right now, that things were meant to happen. And Stanley was happy. Stanley had never seen the office this brightly lit. Was it a sign of something? He hoped it was. He hoped very much that it was. Stanley clicked on literally every single door in the office because he doesn't pick up well on cues from his environment. When Stanley came to a set of 2 open doors, he entered the door on his left. This was not the correct way to the meeting room, and Stanley knew it perfectly well. Perhaps he wanted to stop by the employee lounge first, just to admire it. Stanley felt lightheaded, butterflies in his stomach, giddy in a way he had never known before. But eager to get back to business, Stanley took the first open door on his left. Stanley was so bad at following directions, it's incredible he wasn't fired years ago. Look, Stanley, I think perhaps we've gotten off on the wrong foot here. I'm not your enemy, really, I'm not. I realize that investing your trust in someone else can be difficult, but the fact is that the story has been about nothing but you all this time. There's someone you've been neglecting, Stanley. Someone you've forgotten about. Please, stop trying to make every decision by yourself. Now, I'm not asking for me, I'm asking for... This is it, Stanley. Your chance to redeem yourself, to put your work aside, to let her back into your life. She's been waiting. That's her, Stanley. You need to be the one to do this, to reach out to her. If you can truly place your faith in another, then pick up the phone.
Oh, Stanley, is that you? Hold on, sweetie. Sorry to keep you waiting. I'm just pulling the bread out of the oven. All right. Okay, there we go. All right, now, I want you to come in and tell me all about your day.
Gotcha. Oh, come on. Did you actually think you had a loving wife who'd want to commit their life to you? I'm trying to make a point here, Stanley. I'm trying to get you to see something. Come inside. Let me show you what's really going on here. This is a very
Okay,
sad
what the
story
hell?
about the death of a man named Stanley.
Nope. No. Anyway, that was a great waste of time. I'll see y'all later. Bye.